Okay, welcome to modeling the mitered box. We're going to start by modeling the lid, and tutorial 1 is this tutorial, and it is all about creating the front and back sides. So what you see on the screen in front of you is hopefully the end result. This is the modeled box that I have, and you can see that it is, well, there's the bottom of it, and these things are called splines in the sides, and we'll talk about why those are there later. And the box opens and closes, and you can see inside, so on and so forth. And maybe you can start to see the power of being able to model something prior to building it. There's the hinges in there. That's what's making it go like this, ooh, like that. And then if I really want to get some detail going, I can click on the analysis here, and I've got it set up so that we can see inside, and we can see the hinge and how it fits into a hole. And we can also see, as I zoom, this inset bottom. So all these things that are making it pan and zoom, if you don't know how to do that, or if you don't know how to orbit, you should be watching the basics video again, which is preceding this one. So let's turn the analysis back off so we can go back to our box. To make this, and why is it called a mitered box, by the way? Well, it's all because of this joint. It's a 45-degree join, and a 45, or when you join two pieces of wood at an angle, it's referred to as a miter. So we're making this mitered box. So where does yours begin? Well, it begins with a lot less than this. We begin by heading up here and creating a new design. So right there, click New Design. And the design is going to start you with this wonderful blank space that we're going to have to do some setup to get ready for our design. So the first thing you want to do is save your project with a name. So we'll go up here and we'll hit save. And I'm going to call this one the box, and I'm going to call it the box 2 because I just tried to record this video and I messed up, so here I am trying again. So I'm going to call mine the box 2. Hit save. Oh, and by the way, I gave it a location, and that was sorted out down here by this drop down arrow where you can create a new project. You might call it Woodwork 10, and then a new folder, you might call it mitered box, and then inside that folder you create all of your designs for your mitered box, which in this case is probably just going to be one design, but we'll see. We'll hit save. Okay, notice what happened right away. The box up here changed to the box 2. That's my name for my design, and also over here it named it box 2. So you shouldn't have untitled anymore, or unnamed, or whatever it said. You should have a name for it, hopefully. Next thing. In Fusion, we like to organize our work. It makes it easier to understand and a lot easier to work with. So part of that organization is recognizing something called components. Fusion uses components, and then you assemble those components into assemblies, join them, and in various ways. So simple thing, our box has basically two components. It has a bottom and a top, or I'm calling it a lid and a bottom. So I'm going to make two components right out of the gate here. I'm going to right click on this top level of my browser where it says the box, and I'm going to pick this thing that says make a new component, and I'm going to call this component lid, and I'm going to just push OK. And right there, it shows you what a component creation looks like. It's part of your browser window. It just says lid. Now I'm going to make another one. Same method. Click at the top, push new component. And now I'm going to call, I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to leave it named, see it automatically named it component 2. Let's just say OK. Over here it says component 2, but that's not very descriptive, but I forgot to name it. So what should I do? Well, you slow click, 2 clicks, slow, and it changes the box to something you can edit. And we'll call this one bottom. Push enter. Okay, got a lid and a bottom. Now, the lid is made up of probably 5 components. It's got a front, a back piece, a side right, and a side left, and then there's a top piece that goes on top of all that. If we go back to this, we look, it's got this piece, and all the way around, and then this one on top. So it's like 5 components. We're going to ignore the splines for now. Okay, so I'm going to set those up right away. I'm going to push right click on the lid this time, right click on the lid, and go new component, and I'm going to call this one front. And believe it or not, I'm going to do it again. Right click on the lid, new component, and this one is going to be called back. Name it. Come here. Back. All right. And then we're going to right click, not on front, sorry, right click on the lid again, and we're going to create a new component. And we are going to call this right. And we are going to go and right click on the lid again, new component, and we're going to call this left. Okay, so we've got all these parts to our lid. I'm going to leave the top for now, but I'm just going to go front, back, right, left, and we're going to make all those pieces. This video is about the front and the back. We'll get to the right and left in a second. So how do we begin? Well, if you notice at the end, when I hover over these things, there's these circles. That one is now on. It says activate component. This is critical. There we go. Activate component. Only one component can be active at a time. The component that's active is the one you want to draw. So I'm under the lid and I am drawing the front. So I'm going to make that one active. This is important to make sure that all of the drawing that you do ends up associated with the right part of the box. Okay, so I'm drawing the front, and this is really hard to remember at first. As far as you'll be drawing away and you'll be on the wrong component and it will mess you up. So we'll draw on the front here. First thing I want to do to draw something is head up to create and pick create a sketch. Always do that. And now I'm presented with my origin. Because I'm drawing the front of the box, I'd like it to line up. Remember, these two associate with each other. I'd like it to be on this panel so it lines up with front. When I click it, notice this turn to front, this view cube, and my crosshairs are straight on, and this is my origin. That's exactly what I want. If you've messed up, Control Z, back up, try again. Okay, head up to create, head to rectangle, head to center rectangle. There's different ways to draw everything. There's 3 choices for rectangle. Let's do center. Pick the origin center and draw it out. Don't click again. Draw it out. Okay. This is where you get to choose the size of your box lid. So this is a custom choice, right? I mean, how big a box do I want? I don't know. So I think I'm going to make mine vertically 1.25. See how it changed over there? And then I'll hit tab and I'll go, well, let's just say I screw up and I just hit enter right now. I don't want it to be 6.8 like it says, but I'll just hit enter. Boom. Oh, what do I do? Well, all I have to do is head up here to the one I don't like, double click on it, and it's editable again. So I'm going to make mine 10. Enter. Okay. I now have a rectangle that represents the front. I'd like to make it into a piece of wood, with a thickness. So I click on it. I push extrude. I extrude it out. The thickness of everybody's box should be 3/8 of an inch. Now, if you're working in millimeters, we'll tell you how to change that in a second. That's about 10 millimeters. So 3/8 of an inch is what I'm after here. So I can put that, does anybody know what 3/8 is as a fraction? Or sorry, as a decimal? 3/8 as a fraction is 3/8. As a decimal? Well, it's 3 divided by 8, right? So if you put, bring the calculator up, go 3 divided by 8, enter 0.375. So you can enter by fraction or decimal. I can enter 3/8. It's quite happy to accept that. Or I could enter 0.375. And it's quite happy to accept that. Okay. A little math for you. Now, the top of the cube we want to sort of figure out here. It's this side, right? So I'm going to draw on this surface. You can draw, remember I'm drawing on the front, you can draw on a plane, like an origin, like this thing right there. Turn the origin on by turning this eyeball on, click. Turned it off now so you don't see it. Or you can sketch or draw, make a sketch on a surface of an object. Those are the only 2 places you can make a sketch. It's either on an origin or the surface of an object. So I'm going to click on this top surface and I'm going to create myself the 45s I need for the miters. So I'm going to hit line, that's one way, or L on the keyboard, like this. Draw the line out, and I would like that line to be 45. So what is this if I go straight up and down? I'm reading it off the angle there. It says it's 90. What's 45 degrees more than 90? Well, it's 135. So I'll hit tab. I'll go 135 and I'll leave the line long. Enter. And then I'll head over to this side and I'll make a line. Make sure it sticks to that corner. See that little box there? It's got to stick to that corner right there. And so it's exactly on the corner. And now it looks like, oh, this time I get to do exactly just 45. So I'm going to hit tab, 45, and I'm going to leave the line long because it's too hard to figure out otherwise. Okay, both those lines are there and they're 45 degrees. I need to trim them. So up here, see the scissors? It says trim. You can hit T on your keyboard to get the same thing. If I click that, see the red line tells me what's going to happen. And then you're like, wait a minute, the line didn't go away. Well, it did. This line that remains is simply the dimensioning line that shows me the angle. The actual line is gone. So there it's gone. Notice I still have scissors next to my cursor. So to get rid of those, hit escape on the keyboard. Boom. Next thing, we are going to extrude this down. So we hit E. I'm going to click it, make it blue, makes it's active. And now I'm going to push E for extrude. And I can't see the arrow, so I'm going to orbit using my middle mouse button pressed down and my shift key. And I'm going to go up, and look what happens. It makes a solid. But if I go the other way, it actually starts cutting. So that's what I want. I want to cut away that and make a 45. What if I just do this and accept it? Well, it will work, but it will be sloppy CAD practice. I keep saying CAD, computer assisted design, right? Like this is just CAD's. It's kind of a general term for all this software we use to design things. What we want to do, if I do this, if I put another component up, this might intersect it and chop it out or something like that because it's a cut command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change distance because right now it's at a distance of, I don't know, negative 1.8. Let's go negative 4. Oh, I accepted it. Oh, well, this is a good demonstration. What to do now? I could hit Control Z and back up and do it all over again, or I can recognize down here in my timeline, it's keeping track of the sketch I made, the extrusion I made, that's what this is, extrude, the next sketch I made, which is the 45 degree one, and the last extrusion I made. And if I either double click on that or right click and hit edit, I'm right back where I was, so I can edit it at any time. And by the way, did you notice I didn't pick this corner? And I would like them both, so I better pick that one too. Now, how do I fix the 4, the extrusion of 4? Head up here to distance, under extend. There's another choice. Hit to object, and then click the other side. It now will extrude through to the other side of this object. And if I ever change the height of this object, it will still extrude through to that other side. So that's good CAD form. So I pushed OK. I'm good to go. I now have a front. What happens if I turn this eyeball off over here? Bonk. Bonk. You can turn things on and off depending if you want to see them or not. So sometimes they're in your way. You just don't want to see them. You can just make them invisible and then bring them back. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this front and I'm going to, well, let's just do it this way. I'm going to take the back by highlighting it. I'm going to right click on it and delete it. And you're like, why'd you do that? Don't you need a back? Yeah, I need a back, but why draw it? Isn't the back the exact same as the front? Looks like it. So why not just use the front? But I'd like it to have the component name back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the front. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to click into the white space, right click, oh, make lid active, sorry. Make lid active here. Oh, come here, lid, active. And now we're going to right click and we're going to paste. But don't just paste. Don't do that. That's bad at this time. There's two different kinds of paste. If you paste normal, like just paste, they will be linked to one another. And what that means is if I was to suddenly put a hole in one, the hole appears in the other one, which at times that's really cool. But most of the time it'll mess us up, and it'll mess us up on this project. So go paste new. Now when you go paste new, look what you get. You get front, right, left, front one, showing that it's a different one. Also, what's happened over here is you got this move copy. When it pastes directly on top of the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it away using this arrow. And then I'm going to use this rotate hoop to rotate it 180 degrees. And I'm going to push it away some more just so it starts to look like a box. So I just moved it. The last really important thing to do is to hit capture position. If it's ever presented as an option, just click it. And it'll help to keep your sketches and your 3D bodies all together and happy for now. Anyway, good enough explanation for now. Push OK. So I've got two things. I got this front. See how it turned blue when I clicked it? Front 1, I guess we call it. And this is front 1 here. But let's just slow click this one and call this one back. Oh, look, we got front lined up with front of cube and back lined up with back of cube. Okay, well, that's it for this tutorial. You now have a front and a back of your box. Your next job will be to create the left and right sides of the box the exact same way. No tutorial on that. Good luck.